Hi everyone, I'm Courtney. Welcome back to my channel. I believe this is my third video. So today I want to do a review for the Beauty Blender versus Real Technique sponges. I know everyone's kind of familiar with what's been going on with Beauty Blender, and I'll give my opinion after that. But just because I like to be a well-informed consumer, and I believe that where I put my money kind of backs what ethics I have and what I stand for, Beauty Blender might be a little canceled. So I wanted to find a different product that could possibly be a replacement. So Real Technique, if you don't know anything about them, they're a makeup accessory brand. Basically, they do like brushes, sponges, and I'm pretty sure they do like tweezers and things of that nature. But their sponge looks like this. Kind of similar in, almost similar in the shape, but I'll just read the description off their website. So it says, it's called, let me get the technical name, the Miracle Complexion Sponge. It says, optimize your beauty routine with the #1 brand makeup sponge. I'm pretty sure that's Beauty Blender, but anyway. This versatile beauty tool was designed with a revolutionary foam technology to evenly blend makeup for a smooth, enhanced finish. Use damp for a dewy glow or dry for full coverage. Rounded side, if you look at the sponge itself, it has a rounded side. Blend large areas of the face with a dabbing motion. Coverage to cover blemishes with perfection. So there's a tip that you can use to cover up imperfections. Flat edge for contouring around the eyes and the nose. Ideal for liquid foundation, latex free. For best results, replace your makeup sponge every 1 to 3 months. So when you hear, read in the description, when you hear them talking about the different sides and edges of the sponge, this is basically what they're talking about. This is the flat side, this is the pointy side, and this is the rounded side. Whenever I use the Beauty Blender, I always use it wet, so I'll be using the Real Technique sponge the same way. And I'll just go right into doing my full face and telling you what I think. As far as the texture compares, the Beauty Blender is a lot more soft. This kind of feels almost like a tennis ball. I hate to say, but it feels really rubbery. So let's get started. I always use the little puff that comes with my translucent powder just because I like it better when I'm going over my primer. When I go back to like set my foundation and my concealer, I actually use my makeup sponge. I look so ash. I never noticed, like, after putting the primer on and then putting powder on, I have really oily skin, that's why I do that, how ashy I look. That's a Halloween look right there. Okay, so I'm just gonna take my Fenty Beauty foundation, and it's said to dab, so let's start there. The sponge feels kind of hard, like I said before. It feels like a tennis ball, but it's applying the makeup good. The coverage is a lot more sheer than the Beauty Blender up close. So I've been working out a little bit more because, like, when I go in to contour away my double chin, I've noticed I've had to use a little bit more of the darker shade than I like to. So on camera, it's showing up as pretty full coverage, but I don't know. Well, I guess with the Beauty Blender I dab too, but I feel like because the material is a little bit harder than the Beauty Blender, I'm dabbing. Like, I'm pushing in, if that makes any sense. So usually when I contour, I just use my fingers, but since there's a pointy tip on here, not just for that. Maybe I should use the round curved part to contour my face. Maybe that'll work better. So that way when I go to like set my concealer, I can use the tiny part to get into the eyes better. When I'm moving it against my skin, I can hear like a sound effect and it sounds like kind of scratchy. That's why I kind of grimaced and moved away. It's not that the scratching like actually scratched my skin. It's like a sound effect, like a buffering almost. I have a big forehead, so I have to put a lot of contour on this. It just feels like I'm beating my face in, and I don't know if that's because this sponge just feels really heavy, and because of the material, oh yeah, it feels like it's dragging across my face. Let's see how it does with the powder. It's not too bad. I think maybe the reason I was so shocked at how it was pulling is because, not pulling, but how it applied, or how I was feeling that pressure in my hand, is because the material is obviously different, and then the weight is different. Once you get used to it, like how I'm using it for the powder, it's actually better overall as far as like applying. It's because you're getting used to the weight in your hand. So on camera it looks fine. It looks like it normally would while applying it. Let's see how it looks close. The only thing that I can really see is I'm used to getting a lot more coverage around my mouth, especially like right in here where my smile lines are. That's the only thing. I guess you can go back and put, I'm not going to do it right now, but I guess you can go back and put more foundation on, but that's just if you're not naturally heavy-handed with product, and it might just be me as far as my trouble area goes, but everything else is fine. It looks exactly how it would if I used a beauty blender to do my makeup. So I'm going to finish my makeup, the rest of my face, off camera, then I'll come back and give you my thoughts and my opinion on the real sponge versus the beauty blender, and kind of why I chose to branch out. Okay everyone, I'm back. I finished my full face of makeup, and when it comes down to the Real Technique dupe of the beauty blender, it is a no for me, y'all. When I looked at my face in the mirror and was putting on my powder, like I'm already cracking which is funny to think, like I'm already cracking in smile lines, and it just didn't, the finish just didn't work for me. So I will continue to use my beauty blender until it's time to replace it, and then it's back to the drawing board from there. Thankfully, the Real Technique sponge was only like $5.99 at Target. You can get it at Target and Ulta, I believe. But the reason I'm looking to replace my beauty blender is because of their Bounce Foundation launch. I just think, I know initially the creator of Beauty Blender said she was looking to target Hispanic women, Latino women, and her shade range. But the thing about that is that Latino women and men come in so many shades, not just medium. They don't just look like Jennifer Lopez. She's beautiful, but like, that's not just the shade, that's not the box they come in. It's kind of pitiful, the shade range for darker complexions. And when I say dark complexions, I don't just mean black people, because there are dark Asians, there are dark Latinos, there are dark Middle Eastern people. It just fell flat, and honestly, I didn't want to purchase a product that doesn't speak to my culture, that girls darker than me. And quite honestly, I don't think I can even wear it, because the shade that's meant for me is orange. It's like the color of our president. Or y'all's president. I don't really understand what the mindset was behind that. And any company that my friends or my family can't wear, I can't support with my money. Your money is so important with who you back, and I'm a big advocate of make sure you give to companies that reflect your character, your integrity, what you believe and what you stand for. Just like I wouldn't buy from a cosmetics company that, you know, use the N-word or like didn't support, you know, marriage equality. I wouldn't go and spend my money on a brand that doesn't support people who look like me or who are darker than me. And I know people are like, oh, it's just makeup, it's not that serious. But when you back a company with your money, we live in a capitalist society, not to go on a rant, but rant alert anyway. But who you give your money to is kind of a reflection of you saying, well, I think this is okay. And you have to give and take with that. Like, I shop at Target, and I don't necessarily think all of their practices are okay, but it's a give and take. And unfortunately, for Beauty Blender, I feel like supporting them with my money is just too much of a give on my part, and they're just taking on their part. And it almost felt like an erasure of darker skinned Latino women, unfortunately. So that was just my little soapbox that I'm gonna jump on off of now. It'll be back to the drawing board though. Maybe I'll go back to using like my foundation brush, or if you all have suggestions for another sponge that I can use besides the Beauty Blender, let me know, leave a comment. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram, same name as my YouTube name, and I'll leave a link in the description box. Make sure to tell a friend. Make sure to hit the little, what is it? It looks like a little bell, and it lets you know when I've posted a video. All right, you guys have a good day. Thanks.